Hey, welcome back to Daily Hope. I'm going to make up something new today. Don't worry, I'm not adding a Bible verse, but I'm adding a stop on the Romans Road. The Romans Road is this kind of string of verses in Romans that tell you how to be saved and then what that means for you. Typically, the Romans Road goes from Romans 8 yesterday, which said there's no condemnation, jumps to the end of Romans 8, which we'll see tomorrow. But I want to make a stop at Romans 8, verse 28, because I do believe for the new Christian, as well as a Christian who's been a believer for decades, Romans 8:28 is a key verse in your faith. Here's why. In this broken world where Satan is on the loose and our bodies are marred by sin, there will still be pain and difficulty in your life. Romans 8, verse 28 is the promise that once you have placed your faith in Jesus, even the bad things in your life, God will ultimately bring good from them. Not instantly bring good from them, but ultimately bring good from them. Romans 8:28 says this, and we know, or we are confident, that God causes everything, that includes the bad things, to work together for good, for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So if you love God, and if he's called you, then everything in your life will ultimately work for good. You might say, John, how could cancer work for good? How could an unwanted divorce work for good? How could the loss of a loved one work for good? And I would give you an analogy that I once learned from another pastor about baking a cake. In a cake, you get some ingredients that are really awful tasting on their own. Raw eggs, flour, these things taste terrible on their own, but mixed together by the right person and then baked at the right temperature for the right amount of time, they produce something that's very, very sweet. In the same way, there will be evil in all of our lives, even if we're not a Christian. But the moment you place your faith in Jesus, you now have this promise that even the difficult and bitter things of life will ultimately be mixed together by God. They'll ultimately be baked at the right temperature and the right time, so that when you look back on your life from heaven, you'll say, oh, that's what you were doing, God. You were growing my faith. Or I needed to go through cancer treatment so I could meet that person and tell them about you, and now they're here in heaven for eternity. That was difficult, but it was worth it. Whatever you're going through will work for good in the hands of God. I'll see you tomorrow for more Daily Hope.